A man in a business suit handed a note to a flight attendant that read, "I have a bomb." Then he disappeared into the Pacific Northwest night and became America's only unsolved case of air piracy. November 24, 1971, Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 from Seattle to Reno. A passenger using the alias Dan Cooper, though the press would later call him D.B. Cooper, opened his briefcase mid-flight and revealed what he claimed was dynamite. No one ever confirmed whether it was real. What mattered was that everyone on that plane believed him. He'd made a calculation in 1971. The cost of skepticism was too high. The airline had to choose, pay $200,000, about $1.5 million in today's money, or bet lives on the possibility he was bluffing. The airline chose to pay. They assembled the cash $10,020 bills, a specific denomination Cooper demanded. The plane landed in Seattle. Authorities were waiting on the ground. Negotiations stretched for hours. Cooper remained calm. He knew something about human nature under pressure. People follow instructions when they're terrified enough. He released all 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants, a strategic move. Fewer witnesses on the plane meant fewer complications. He kept a crew of 6 pilots, flight attendants, and a flight engineer. They couldn't risk losing control of the aircraft or having someone make a desperate move. Cooper had structured the problem so that cooperation was the only rational path forward for everyone involved. Then came the second negotiation. Cooper demanded the plane stay airborne. He wanted it flying south toward Mexico, landing gear down, flaps lowered to reduce speed. He was already thinking like an engineer, not an amateur. Every demand signaled someone who'd studied the mechanics of flight, someone who understood vectors, weight, timing. The FBI faced a choice. They could attempt a tactical intervention, risk a shootout at 10,000 feet, or they could let him jump. They chose to let him jump. They'd already lost the money. Stopping him now meant potential deaths. The calculus was brutal and simple. A missing fugitive was preferable to a dead crew. Somewhere over southwestern Washington, the exact location was never pinpointed. Cooper lowered the rear stairs of the Boeing 727. The night was dark. Rain fell. The ground below was forest, Douglas firs, dense undergrowth, ravines. He'd chosen his window carefully. The plane was slow enough to survive a jump. The terrain was remote enough to disappear into. He stepped out into the void. That's the moment we return to. A man in a business suit carrying $200,000 in a paper bag descending into darkness over a landscape he'd never seen. No parachute training on record. No military background confirmed. Just a decision made under pressure and an exit executed with precision. He was never found, not alive, not dead, not the money, not the parachute, nothing. 50 years of searches, tips, and investigations turned up fragments but no body. In 1980, a boy found $5,800 of the ransom buried in sand along the Columbia River, but nothing else. It was as if the forest had swallowed him entirely. The FBI pursued leads for decades. They named suspects: Robert Rackstraw, Richard Floyd McCoy Jr., Dan Cooper himself, if that was even his real name. Each theory had evidence, none had proof. The agency eventually concluded that Cooper likely died during the jump or shortly after landing. The terrain was unforgiving, the weather was hostile, survival odds were poor. But the legend didn't die, it grew, because Cooper had done something no one else had. He'd committed the perfect crime under extreme pressure, executed flawlessly, and left no proof of failure. He'd made every decision count. He'd treated the problem like strategy, not desperation. The cost to Northwest Orient, $200,000 in 1971 money plus operational disruption. The cost to the FBI, 50 years of investigative resources and zero resolution. The cost to Cooper, everything. His identity erased. His life ended, probably. His legacy cemented as the only unsolved case of air piracy in commercial aviation history. What makes Cooper different from other criminals isn't that he succeeded. It's that he succeeded by understanding everyone else's constraints. He knew the airline would pay rather than gamble with lives. He knew the FBI would let him jump rather than risk a shootout. He'd read the situation correctly and made moves based on what others would do under pressure. In 50 years, no one's solved it. No body's been recovered with certainty. No deathbed confession emerged. The money mostly stayed missing. Cooper vanished into the Pacific Northwest exactly as he'd planned, or as close to it as anyone's managed to calculate. He became a ghost story, a legend, proof that under the right conditions, with the right decisions, a person could simply disappear. Subscribe for a new historical disappearance every week, cases where the truth stayed hidden, and the decisions made in those final moments changed everything. Subscribe for a new historical disappearance every week, cases where the truth stayed hidden, and the decisions made under pressure changed everything.